Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. And today I've become quite overwhelmed with the amount of scraps on my craft table, and I'd like to invite you to join me in helping sort out and reorganize the craft desk so that I can show you how I create my collage snippet rolls in part 2 of this video.
This, for me, is something that I cannot throw away, because each and every one of these pieces of paper I've either made or developed, or I've taken the time to find, or they're old, so there's value in them, or one little circle like that created something. So each little piece, I see value in it. From the top of an old book page where the title is, with some interesting words, the number, same on the other side. I've stamped something there on a plant dyed piece of paper, a digital kit which had vintage wallpaper image on it. That's not necessarily paper, but it's still a scrap. I'll put that over there. But today it is sort out scrap Sunday. Without further ado, I really need to get stuck into this and just work out. Yeah, I can't find anything, and I'm just trying to pull scraps, but every time I do, you know, this happens, and then I get overwhelmed. And whilst I see one piece here, and maybe I can put this piece here together and do that and stick it down, I then can't find anything that I might want to put on top as a focal point without having to really dig and rummage. And whilst I find that fun, I also find it a mess and overwhelming. So I'm going to try to sort this out into size order. And then I think it's got to the point where this little tiny tray is no longer doing it for me. Even though I've been crafting all day, I still have not reduced this amount of scrappage. So I might put you on a time lapse with some music and you can watch. I'm going to take out all the fabricy pieces and either put those in another separate pile. So I just want to concentrate on the paper. For me, I might, for a collage, let me show you what I've been doing. So for a collage piece, using scraps, all just out of stuff like this, bits that we chop off. I lay down the plainer pieces of paper at the back, and then I will build up to more interesting pieces in the foreground. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to put my background pieces in one pile and then my more interesting pieces in another pile, and we'll cover this collage roll or snippet roll another time. Okay, so where to begin? We'll put it in the middle and we'll just take this and start with this. It's amazing how much you actually get in such a small tray. So what I've got here is a grease-proof paper. Actually, that's wax paper and that's tracing paper. Okay, so I'm going to put book page and interesting pieces here for the moment. And we'll just separate out into beautiful pieces of paper and blank pieces of paper. So I'm saying that this is beautiful because it's been dyed, but it's also background stuff. So fabric's coming out of it. And interesting Old washi tape. Interesting because it can be restuck down. Don't know what that is. Fabric. Scruffy bit of tissue. Interesting. Interesting. We'll come back to that in a minute. And then background. Chinese script. Interesting. Old tea bag. Interesting because you can stamp on it. Background papers. Interesting. Digital. Old vintage music paper. Old book page. Background. And then these longer thin strips can be used for things. Digital. In this bag, when I went away for a weekend, I just used this bag to put in some things that I wanted to do. I took a bunch of tags that had come off of some clothes or items that I got in a charity sale, and my intention was to cover them with scraps. So I haven't mastered that project because I took on something else. So I've got some old cereal box card to make some tags. But I also took some pretty papers with me as well. And these are cards that I was going to cover, which I still will cover, but they're not scraps to use in collage. They are the board that I would be collaging. This is some fabric. Crazy quilting patchwork. And what I'm going to repurpose here is this bag. I'm going to put these longer strips in. It's got words on it. So anything about 1/4 of an inch or a centimetre to 1/2 an inch is going to go in the bag if I can get them to all behave. They're like hangers. So this, I'm saying, is interesting because it's textural and it's a piece of handmade paper that I handmade. That's got a bee on it. That's a background. Interesting, so it's got a stamp. Interesting. Okay, strips. Now strips can be laid down and glued in a row and look great. So those are brilliant to keep, particularly if they're all different colours and textures, thicknesses. Anything with words on is interesting. A little bit of map. And then we're really down to the odds and ends. Okay, so from here, I've got background pieces. And I think I'm going to just have a look through here. I've got my see-throughs, if we're going to be really organised. And then I've got thinner pieces like this. And I think I'm trying to keep the bigger bits like so. And then some of those smaller bits. Okay. Yes, right. So these are bigger bits. Okay. can go there, and look, we are down to the little pieces, but they're interesting. And then, oh, stuck to me, strips, and then things that we see more valuable because they are our different textured papers, or they've got some special print on them of some sort. Again, these smaller pieces. Put a clip on this pile here, and for now I'm going to put these bits in there. Okay, so top, bottom, strips, and then see-through clear. All right, do it all again. Been following along, you'll see that I've organised scraps from larger pieces into smaller pieces, and what I have now is a pack of plains and neutrals, background scraps that can be useful for collage. I've got things that have more pattern or texture, things that I might want to bring to the front of my designs or my work. And if I just put that around like that, then I can be a little bit more inspired. And these are my patterned papers here and here. So I'll keep those together. So we've got plain and decorative. And then in here, I've got all the little offcuts that come from when I make journals, and I need to trim down the papers. So I've either got really long ones or short ones. Some of them are book pages, some of them are decorative. There's a nice mixture in there, and together, if you line them up, they make a really fantastic collage background. So I'm going to keep those. And these clips are handy, paper clips, to keep everything in order. And so now I know if I want something bigger, I can delve into that pile there. This is what I will have on my desk at all times, and it slots in front of me under my little desk area here. This is a drawer with all my little bits and bobs in here, so that's to delve into. And then I try and keep everything around me that is useful. So now what I've got, and this is what I didn't have before, is a little dish to rummage through. This particular one came from IKEA as part of their organising drawer compartment range. And it could be anything though. I just couldn't find an old cardboard box because we've been using them over the weekend for the children. So this is fine, and now that gives me something to sort of delve into. If it gets too big though, it's off-putting, and I won't be able to find it because I'm quite often trying to just find a little tiny something that will just take the collage to the next level with some interesting textures. And I'm always rummaging around to try and find something small like that. So that's why my tray tends to get in such a problem. But if you know what I'm talking about and you do this, hopefully that you found that it's a little bit interesting to and inspire you to do the same, because I think now I could be able to get on and craft. I feel more, you know, it's like a release of, like, it's just a weight off my mind. It's just nice. Things are tidy. I know where they are. I can delve into them. The whole process of crafting has just suddenly become more relaxing and enjoyable rather than more added stress, I suppose. That's exactly the opposite of why I do my crafts. We're here to chill out and have a bit of time for ourselves in this crazy world. So yeah, sorting out your scraps once in a while, or any of your supplies, just makes all the difference. Right, you're going to expect a lovely tidy pen pot here, pen tin, but it's not. It's an old one. It's got nothing in it. I've just taken out the insert where the pencils are supposed to go, but this is my daughter's and it's an old one. She's used all the pencils. She keeps them in a pencil case because she felt that this was actually more cumbersome. And I've just thought this is perfect because it's slim. It will fit under my desk, slot down there somewhere, and keep everything. Oh, lovely, nice and neat, and off to one side. And now when I want a little bit of bigger scrap of paper, it's just down there where I need it.
If you would like to see how I put together the collage using the smaller pieces and scraps that I've had fun sorting out today, then please have a look at part 2 of this video, where I will link below in the description box for you to find easily. I hope you also find other inspiration in my other videos and that you feel that there's enough worth here for you to subscribe to the channel and follow along on my junk journaling journey. And I hope that I've inspired you today to have a look at your own craft room or your desk or where you work, and maybe put aside some smaller scraps in an organisational way for you to pick and pull from if you would like to have a go at the smaller collage work that I will also show you how to do in future videos. Okay guys, so I've had fun here. It's been really relaxing putting everything in its place. I hope you also have found that the video was useful to you. And above all else guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.